Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning, Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa. You had a wonderful Janmashtami and Shri Padvyas Puja, and back again. Love Radhashtami next week. So beautiful festivals. And we'll carry on with this now. And we're talking about Lord Shiva. We're talking about Sati. And as you know, Sati went to sort out matters with her father Daksh, but things didn't quite go to plan. And in fact, they get really out of hand now. And so let's continue. So Sati is speaking to her father. She says, therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body. So it's come to that now, that she no longer wants any association with Daksh as her father, because that's the only relationship they have. We are living entities, we are spirit souls. We had so many fathers, we had so many mothers, we had so many births, and each birth is individual. And in this birth, the only relationship she has with her father is that he has given her this body. And once she gets rid of that, then she no longer has any connection with him. So she says, therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body, which has been received from you, who have blasphemed Lord Shiva. If someone has taken food which is poisonous, the best treatment is to vomit it. So with Lord Shiva, she has an eternal relationship. So that's, she is standing her ground. Since Sati was a representation of the external potency of the Lord, it was in her power to vanquish many universes, including many Dakshas. But in order to save her husband from the charge that he employed his wife Sati to kill Daksh, because he could not do so due to its inferior position, she decided to give her body. It is better to execute one's own occupational duty than to criticize others. Elevated transcendentalists may sometimes forego the rules and regulations of the Vedas since they don't need to follow them. Yet, as the demigods travel in space, whereas ordinary men travel on the surface of the earth. So the behavior of the most elevated transcendentalist and the most fallen conditioned souls appears to be the same. The elevated transcendentalist can surpass all the regulations of the Vedas, just as the demigods traveling in space surpass all the jungles and rocks on the surface of the globe. Although a common man who has no such ability to travel in space has to face all these impediments. So although most dear Lord Shiva appears not to observe all the rules and regulations of the Vedas, he is not affected by such disobedience. Whereas we would be, Lord Shiva is not affected by such disobedience. But a common man who wants to imitate Lord Shiva is mistaken. A common man must observe all the rules and regulations of the Vedas, which a person who is in the transcendental position does not need to observe. Daksh found fault with Lord Shiva for not observing all the strict rules and regulations of the Vedas. But Sati asserted that he had no need to observe such rules. This is the point. It is said that for one who is powerful like the sun or the fire, there is no consideration of purity or impurity. The sunshine can sterilize an impure place, whereas if someone else were to pass such a place, he would be affected. One should not try to imitate Lord Shiva, rather one should strictly follow one's prescribed occupational duties. One should never vilify a great personality like Lord Shiva. So we can't think that, oh, we are, we can also do this. We are devotees. We have been following for so many years. So, we have become powerful, because we are just ordinary living entities, whereas Lord Shiva is above us. He's between Lord Narayan and the ordinary common living entity like us. He's in between. So we can't compare ourselves to Lord Shiva. So we shouldn't try to imitate like some people do. Let's do a quick prayer, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vashanam Pangum Langyate Green Yat Kirpatam Mande Shri Guru Din Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyat Nashta Preshabhamdareshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Neshtiki. Hare Krishna. In the Vedas, there are directions for two kinds of activities. Activities for those who are attached to material enjoyment, and activities for those who are materially detached. In consideration of these two kinds of activities, there are two kinds of people who have different symptoms. If one wants to see two kinds of activities in one person, that is contradictory. But both kinds of activities may be neglected by a person who is transcendently situated. So the Vedic activities are so designed that the conditioned soul who has come to enjoy the material world may do so under direction, so that at the end he becomes detached from such material enjoyment and is eligible to enter into the transcendental position. The four different social orders, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanprastha, and Sannyas, gradually train a person to come to the platform of transcendental life. The activities and dress of a Grihastha or householder are different from those of sannyasi. One in the renounced order of life. So it is impossible for one person to adopt both orders. A sannyasi can't act like a householder, nor can a householder act like a sannyasi. But above these two kinds of persons, one who engages in material activities and one who has renounced material activities, there is a person who is transcendental to both, and that is Lord Shiva. So whether he gives up material activities or he doesn't give up material activities, it makes no difference. This is the point here, trying to establish that Lord Shiva is immune to all these things. He is not affected by all these things, that he has to be a Grihastha or he has to be a sannyasi. He's Lord Shiva, and he can't be compared. Because we compare everything, from our own point of view, from our own comparison, and we can't do that with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is in the transcendental position because, as stated before, he is always absorbed in the thought of Lord Vasudeva within himself, which we are not. Therefore, neither the activities of the Grihastha nor those of the sannyasi in the renounced order can be applicable for him. He is in Paramhansa stage, the highest perfectional stage of life. The transcendental position of Lord Shiva is also explained in Bhagavad-Gita. It is stated there that when one fully engages in a transcendental service of the Lord by performing activities without fruitive results, one is elevated to the transcendental position. At that time, he has no obligation to follow the Vedic injunctions or the different rules and regulations of the Vedas. When one is above the directions of the Vedic ritualistic injunctions for attaining different allurements and is fully absorbed in transcendental thought, which means thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotion service, one is in the position called the Buddhi Yoga or Samadhi ecstasy. For a person who has attained this stage, neither the Vedic activities for realizing material enjoyment nor those for renunciation are applicable. So the Vedas tell us how we can enjoy, and it gives us practices which we can use to enhance our material enjoyment, or we can totally renounce everything. There's methods for that as well. But even if we do reach the Samadhi status, we should not still consider that we are in that stage. We should stay humble and consider ourselves as ordinary people, because sometimes we can think that we no longer need to follow the rules and regulations and or the injunctions, but that we shouldn't think like that. So Sati continues, my dear father, the opulence we possess is impossible for either you or your flatterers to imagine. For persons who engage in fruity activities by performing great sacrifices are concerned with satisfying their bodily necessities by eating foodstuffs offered as a sacrifice. We can exhibit our opulences simply by desiring to do so. This can be achieved only by great personalities who are renounced, self-realized souls. So Sati's father was under the impression that he was exalted in both prestige and opulence, and that he had offered his daughter to a person who was not only poor, but devoid of all culture. Because he offered his daughter because Lord Brahma had asked him to do, though he was not really interested. This is the problem. Her father might have been thinking that although she was a chaste woman, greatly adherent to her husband was in deplorable condition. To counteract such thoughts, Sati said that the opulence possessed by her husband could not be understood by materialistic persons like Daksh and his followers, who were flatterers and were engaged in fruity activities. Her husband's position was different. He possessed all opulences, but he did not like to exhibit them. Shiva, he could have anything he wants. He could display. We've seen previous classes that even some of the rishis, they can build big house mansions in the sky and everything. Then if they can do that, then why can't Lord Shiva? He's above all them, you know. Therefore, such opulences are called avyakta or unmanifested. But if required simply by willing, Lord Shiva can show his wonderful opulences. And such an event is predicted here, for it would soon occur. The opulence Lord Shiva possesses is enjoyable in renunciation and love of God, not in material exhibition of sense gratificatory methods. Such opulences are possessed by personalities like the Kumaras, Narad, and Lord Shiva, not by others. So in this verse, the performance of the Vedic rituals are condemned. They have been described here as Duma Vartambabi, those who maintain themselves on the remnants of sacrificial foodstuff. So there are two kinds of foodstuff offered in sacrifice. One kind is food offered in fruity ritualistic sacrifices, and the other, the best, is food offered to Vishnu. Although in all cases Vishnu is the chief deity on the sacrificial altar, the performers of fruity results aim to satisfy various demigods to achieve in return some material prosperity. So real sacrifice is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, and the remnants of such sacrifice are beneficial for advancement in devotional service. The process of elevation by performing sacrifices other than those aimed at Vishnu is very low. And therefore it has been condemned in this verse. And Vishwanath Chakravarti has described the ritualistic performers to be like crows, because crows delight in eating the remnants of food which has been thrown into the dustbin. So all the Brahmins who were present for the sacrifice were also condemned by Sati. Whether or not King Daksh and his flatterers could understand the position of Lord Shiva, Sati wanted to impress upon her father that he should not think her husband to be without opulence. Sati, being the devoted wife of Lord Shiva, offers all kinds of material opulences to the worshippers of Lord Shiva. This fact is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. Lord Shiva's worshippers sometimes appear more opulent than the worshippers of Lord Vishnu. And this is because Durga, or Sati, being the superintendent in charge of material affairs, can offer all material opulences to the worshippers of Lord Shiva in order to glorify her husband. So just like Lakshmi can give you all opulences, it says here that Durga, this is why so many people worship Mata Durga, they worship Lord Shiva, Sai Baba, because they know they will get instant results, they will get a lot of benefit, but it's only material benefit, and that is temporary. And also, material benefits can also have side effects as well, cause a lot of problems. Whereas the worship of Vishnu are meant for spiritual elevation. So do you want temporary happiness or do you want permanent happiness? And therefore, their material opulences is sometimes found to decrease. These points are very nicely discussed in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So sometimes you find that, and sometimes actually some people are afraid to worship Lord Vishnu, Krishna, because they think their opulences will decrease. But that is only for their own benefit, because even opulences can be obstacles in our bhakti. So if it's been an obstacle, then Krishna will make adjustments. If it's not an obstacle, then Krishna will give you more, which you can use in Lord's service. So all depends on the individual. It's not, a fact that if you worship Krishna, then your opulences will decrease. It's only if they're an obstacle in your bhakti. If they're not, then they won't decrease, and they can certainly increase as well. You are an offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and unfortunately, I have a body produced from yours. Now, Sati is getting more fired up now, and she's saying that you are an offender at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, and unfortunately, I have a body produced from yours. I am very much ashamed of our bodily relationship, and I condemn myself because my body is contaminated by relationship with a person who is an offender at the lotus feet of the great personality. So Lord Shiva is the greatest of all devotees of Lord Vishnu. To state in Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of all devotees of Lord Vishnu. In the previous verses, Sati has described that Lord Shiva is always in a transcendental position because he's situated in pure Vasudev. And why I say Vasudev? Because Vasudev is a state from which Krishna, Vasudev, is born. So Lord Krishna comes through Vasudev, the expansion of Vasudev. He is born, and so Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. And Sati's behavior is exemplary because no one should tolerate blasphemy against Lord Vishnu or his devotees like Lord Shiva. Sati is aggrieved not for her personal association with Lord Shiva, but because her body is related with that of Daksh. So she's going to that way that I don't want any connection with you. Who is an offender at the Lord Shiva's lotus feet? She feels herself to be condemned because of the body given by her father Daksh. And then she continues, because of our family relationship, when Lord Shiva addresses me as Dakshyani, I at once become morose, and my jolliness and my smile at once disappear. I feel very much sorry that my body, which is just like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. The word Dakshani means the daughter of King Daksh. Sometimes when there was relaxed conversation between husband and wife, Lord Shiva used to call Sati the daughter of King Daksh. And because this very word reminded her about her family relationship with King Daksh, she at once became ashamed because Daksh was an incarnation of all offenses. Daksh was the embodiment of both envy, for he unnecessarily blasphemed a great personality, Lord Shiva. Simply upon hearing the word Dakshyani, she felt afflicted because of her reference to the context, because her body was a symbol of all the offensiveness with which Daksh was endowed. So she felt that by association, that she was also guilty. If her father was guilty, by association, she was also guilty because she was Dakshyani. Since her body was constantly a source of unhappiness, she decided to give it up. So we'll come back to Maitri now. Maitri says to Lord Vidur, told Vidur, "O annihilator of enemies," while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, so it seems like she went and got changed. She sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given her by Daksh. Daksh was Sati's father, so instead of killing Daksh, she decided that it would be better to destroy the part of the body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up her body of Daksh by the yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is known as Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis, because he knows all the mystic process of yoga. So it appeared that Sati also knew them. Either she learned yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksh. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death because by natural laws, such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the air passing in the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. Then when the body bursts into flames, the yogis can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process for controlling the cells of the bodies, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the transmigration of the soul from one planet to another, or one body to another. And it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. So Sati is just transmigrating now. So when Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksh, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and wife of a great personality, she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly, this was astonishing. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of demigods, but still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction. Yaya Atma Suprasaditi. But Atma, the body, mind, and soul all become completely satisfied only if one develops devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Adoksha. Adoksha means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for transcendental Supreme Personal Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. So, although Sati had everything to live for, she had the greatest father and the greatest husband, and yet, due to this incidents, she decided to give up her body. And it's very, very difficult to understand this. Why would she do that? Because there is no issue, there is no problem that cannot be solved, doesn't have a solution or have an alternative. And we see many people commit suicide as well because they think there is nothing left in life. We have seen in our own experience in the mission, people commit suicide because they really see no way out of a situation. Whereas Sati was so enlightened, you can tell from her the conversation she's having that she was so enlightened, yet she decided to leave her body. She felt so strongly that she gave up her body. So very bewildering. Maybe somebody can shed some light on this. Thank you all for joining. Ishani Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Mother Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, Prem Prakash Prabhu, and Sarvashriya Mataji. Thank you for joining. And we will start with maybe Madhav Shyam Sundar Prabhu. You okay?
Yeah, Hari Bol Prabhuji, you okay?
Very well. Thank you. Yes, fine. Thank you.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Very, very nice class and very knowledgeable, you know. And that's all I can say. Hari Bol.
So why would Sati give up? Now even Prabhupada is saying why everybody's asking the question. Even the demigods asking the question. Why would she give up her body when she had so much to live for? And suddenly she decided she is it because she was so hurt by her father's actions?
I think it might be that. On same time, I think she just all leave on to Krishna. She was hurt by father as well, but same time she was like leave everything to Krishna because she was so fed up according to what you explained to us. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because real happiness lies there. She's seen that you can have
Surrender, yeah.
you can have everything, still can't be happy, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hari
Prabhu
Bol.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhuji, did you say my name?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Sorry. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Yes, it was very nice pastime, but yeah, sad as well. But the only thing that's coming to my mind is the unflinching love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what we need to develop. And Sati, I think again, this is Leela to show the detachment from this material body. So although she had all the opulences, so she was not attached to the body.
Yes, good point. Good point. Yeah. And you're right. I think that makes a lot of sense. That because she wasn't attached to the body, she easily gave it up, right? Thank you, Anthony. Okay. Yeah, you there? I don't know. Keep going on mute for some reason. Anthony, try again. I think not going out. Anthony, can you unmute yourself? Very well.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just saying, so a good point that she was not attached to her body, right?
Mm.
And she
Yes.
easily gave it up.
Yes. So that's what we are trying to learn. We are not this body, we are the soul. So again, it is Prabhu's Leela really to show the humans, so she had everything going for her, but she still gave up her body.
But did it solve anything?
I think Mataji can put more light or Prem Prakash Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhuji, mind not.
Yeah, even I need direction on this because it's very difficult. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Jai Hare Krishna, Mataji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I have a bit of a little question, Prabhuji here. Common people have a habit of comparing their lives with the great personalities. Though Prabhupada has said that we should not follow them, we should follow their instructions. So here, if anybody says, a depressed person can say that, even Sati did that, and we are allowed to do that, but accordingly, we are not allowed to quit our body in any way. So how to justify that? Like how to convince such people if we have in future, like if we have such a situation where someone can compare his life or her life with, with the life of Sati because she did that. So even we can think of doing that. So how to justify that?
Sure. I mean, so Prabhupada will explain that we don't copy Shiva, and we certainly don't copy Sati, who is actually Durga Mata, right? Durga Devi. So we cannot copy them. And she had yogic powers. She left her body, but she knew what she was going to do, where she was going to go next with that body. It was all all controlled. Anyway, but for the untrained eye, it seemed like she had committed suicide, but she was trying to make a point. So we cannot. The bottom line is we should not try. We should try and learn from these pastimes, not copy them. That's the thing. That's why I tell people that we don't copy this pastime. Can we swallow poison? That's the main one is given, like Shiva swallowed the ocean of poison. Can we do that? There's a lot of things they can do that we can't do. Are we equal to Shiva? Are we equal to Durga? We're not. So they're trying to teach us something. They're not saying, but I understand where you're coming from. That this is set a good example for people that if somebody has upset your husband, you commit suicide. Now, from our point of view, it does not do that, and it is a very difficult topic. And I mean, suicide is not recommended anyway, because we are given this body for a purpose, and we might not get that body again so quickly if we miss the opportunity. The main thing is to become Krishna conscious using this instrument that we're given. And we leave our body untimely, we'll definitely become a ghost anyway, and plus we will have karmic reactions in the process. So there's a lot of implications. Just by giving up a body doesn't mean that we got away with it, or we managed to achieve some freedom. You suddenly have not achieved any freedom. In fact, you have implicated yourself even more into more karma, and you might get a really disastrous body. Next time you might get more problems in the next body. So who's to say? So we don't do things like that. When we certainly don't follow. We learn from the past times, but we don't copy them.
Yeah, and secondly, the way Sati Mata left the body is totally different to what general people think, right? So it's like going into trance, like she meditated, and then she took her soul to another body, or
It's controlled.
this can be explained.
Yeah. It was a
Thank you.
controlled. She left the body, migrated in a controlled way. It's not that she. Sometimes we think somebody didn't read this past time. They think she just jumped into the fire. I think I've heard probably as well that she jumped into the kund, because the kunds are really, really big, right, in those days. And somebody might think that, oh, she just jumped in there, and I've heard this like that, that she jumped into the fire. But that is also explained that she did not jump. So if somebody thinks, okay, we want, for example, they want to copy Sati, well, then you sit in a yogic position and combust yourself. If that's what you think, you are like Sati, you are at her level, then you do that, because she did not jump into the fire. She did not commit suicide like that. She went to the yogic trance and took her life that way, in a very controlled way. She knew what she was doing, but to us it does seem like suicide, but she knew what she was doing and where her next destination was. Thank you.
Thank you, Babaji. Very well.
Okay. Sarveshwar, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Lord Krishna, he created 4 social orders: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras. Daksha was a Brahmana, but he had no qualities of a Brahmana, because Sati had more knowledge than her father, and she was trying to give him knowledge, like she was saying that you find fault, because a Brahmana, he doesn't find fault in anybody, and you don't see the qualities in person. What kind of quality? You just see a person's body, and you can't discriminate between good and bad. And Lord Shiva, his body, he looks like he's he got ashes and he is associated with demons, he lives in there. But he's transcendental, he is worshipped by Lord Brahma and everybody. And why Sati, I think she could, what I think is that they say if somebody blasphemes spiritual master or Krishna or superior person, you shouldn't hear them. You must close your ears. If you can't close your ears, you should move away from there. If you can't move away, then you just jump in the river or somewhere or commit suicide. That is not that different kind of suicide, because it is for your spiritual master of somebody. You mustn't hear all these things. And Sati, I mean, in India, when I went one time in India, it was in Kashi, I think, I forgot the name, very long time ago. And there's a place, and it's a big Havan Kund, and they took us, and they said, Sati jumped in that Havan Kund, because the full people there. But actually she didn't jump. She set fire to herself. She can produce fire, because there's just like yogis, they can, when they want to leave the body, they produce fire and burn themselves. That's what Sati did. And Sati is very powerful. She's incarnation, she's expansion of Durga. And she can do anything she likes. So I think she couldn't bear the insult that they say you mustn't hear. And she had the insult of her husband, and she had to give up her body, because that's why that's what it said in the Vedic literature. You mustn't hear the blasphemy of superior than you. And that's what I can say. I can't think of anything else because it's been already been discussed. We discussed everything very thoroughly, this morning. And so, like, you have to Brahmana, you have to Kshatri, you have to, a Kshatri can't work like a Brahmana, and Brahmana can't work like Kshatri. So you have to, that's why Lord Krishna created, you must follow your social orders. But I think Daksha couldn't do it. He was out of line. So that's why Sati was giving him, explaining him what is wrong, what is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, that is the misconception that people think that she jumped into the kund, but now we know from the reading that that is not the case. She did not jump in the kund. This is what I heard before reading this. That they always say the Sati, and even the ladies who die with their husbands, they call them Sati as well. They jump into the fire with their husbands. They call them Sati. So yeah, but in this pastime, like Ishani Mataji says, it just seems a very extreme action to take. Okay, that's like he's saying that one should cut out the tongue and or commit suicide and that. Okay, that's is saying that, but I don't think anybody expecting, because then everybody be cutting out tongues and jumping into the rivers, and it's just shown that it's serious, right? It's shown that somebody is insulting a Vaishnav. It's a serious matter, and we should take it seriously and not jokingly or lightly. But nobody expected to kill anyone, themselves or anybody else, right? But yes, Durga, she can do whatever she wants, but it just, the shocking thing, it just seems very extreme action to take and very hard to comprehend by, common people like us, that, why would she take her life? And even Shiva, he very distraught, because he could not believe that what's just happened here. If he had thought for a minute that she would kill herself, then he would try to stop her. But
I think she was thinking of Lord Shiva when she left her body, and then she became Parvati, like Krishna says, Yam Yamapi Samran Bhavam Tajante Kalevaram. So she quit her body, but she was thinking of Shiva, so she became next life, Lord Shiva's wife Parvati.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So it's all controlled, right? That's the point. From our point of view, we see something very extreme action, but it's all controlled. Then she's going to come as Parvati. So she knows what she's doing, and like when exalted personalities, they do something, just like especially Narayan, when he does something, he does one thing for many reasons. So Parvati, she's doing this action, and it produces a lot of results, a lot of benefits from that as well. So, yeah, so it's all controlled. Thank you, Mataji. And let's hear from Prem Prakash Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandavat Pranam, Shripat Kiche, Kiraj Kiche. I mean, what I'm supposed to say is Hare Mataji has already covered and more than that. But yeah, and you have actually put your insight as well, Prabhuji. That these, I mean, to compare with the offense of hearing a Vaishnav Ninda is as serious as giving up your life. That's a key point to understand. It's not that, first of all, we should get into Vaishnav Ninda. Unfortunately, unknowingly, we might even get ourselves a participant of a Vaishnav Ninda. But this is a big offense, exemplified by, I guess, Rupa Goswami as well, when he was in trance and someone, Srila Rupa Goswami or Srila Sanatana Goswami, I guess it's Srila Rupa Goswami, when someone is trance, when he was in trance, somebody passed by and he was thinking of pastimes of Radha Krishna. When the person took offense to himself, thought that he is laughing, Srila Rupa Goswami is laughing at him. And then Srila Rupa, exalted personality like Srila Rupa Goswami, lost all his sadhana and meditation. So that is exemplified by Srila Rupa Goswami, who is at that level, who can do sadhana, who can be part of pastime, Sri Radha Krishna's pastime always, can actually experience the difference. So we need to understand that we are climbing the ladder, and if we are part of a Vaishnav Ninda or become a reason for Vaishnav Ninda, or actually even hear Vaishnav Ninda, so the offense is as serious as one should be ready to give up their body. So with that seriousness, the scriptures actually talks about 3 ways of reacting or responding to the situation. One, if someone is doing Vaishnav Ninda and we happen to be there, we should either close our ears. The first thing, the easiest thing to do is to sorry, I'll start with the most difficult thing to do. The scripture says that you kill the person and not stop there. The scripture says first defend whatever is said. And if you are not able to defend, then kill the person and kill yourself. That's the extreme thing. Obviously, this shouldn't be followed in this age in Kali Yuga, because it's not recommended to give up the body. Second one is cutting of the tongue, because you couldn't defend. And the third one, which is recommended, if we are not able to defend the person, leave the place immediately. So and that as a recommendation doesn't mean that one has to follow the most difficult based on the power and enthusiasm to defend the person and Vaishnav. It's recommended in this age, just if you can't defend, leave the discussion. The important thing is leave the discussion. It's not leave the place as well. You can leave the place, that's okay, but leave the discussion. so that the discussion doesn't continue. The example is given by Guru Maharaj when he was there in a discussion with the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada, and they were trying to say something about Srila Prabhupada Guru, and other devotees are also there. They were wondering what to do, but Guru Maharaj exemplified by saying that these are the pastimes of his Guru Maharaj, and he has no rights to enter and discuss about the pastimes of Guru Maharaj. He's Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. So there, that is an example of leaving the discussion. So that's how it's exemplified, that the discussion shouldn't continue. You should be immediately away from it if you can't defend it. So that is important to understand. Obviously, these, I mean, it's easy to follow for most of the Vaishnavas, and if we actually get angry or try to defend, that is according to defend the Vaishnavas because of the Vaishnava Prad during that period. It is recommended in scriptures to get angry at those instances, and at many times we don't lose our sadhana because of it, getting angry, rather than we are appreciated that we stood by for the defense of the Vaishnavas. And it actually is constructive somehow, somewhere. And I mean, Radharani and Krishna recognizes that the person is actually sensitive to Vaishnava. And in this literature, it said that this pastimes, it's you said, Ravaji, that one should not be tolerant at the blasphemy of exalted personalities like Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and exalted Vaishnavas. By saying so, we should also understand that we are not actually supposed to ridicule few of things of any senior Vaishnavas, as well as to the top level Lord Brahma as well, because we are coming from that sampradaya, Brahma Madhava Vadiya sampradaya. So by saying so, there are some faults of Lord Brahma and Srila Prabhupada. I believe I've not read those pastimes yet, but they have been not exemplified. I mean, they have not given a big purport until it's required by Srila Prabhupada. The reason being is that we need to understand that even Lord Brahma falls into Vaishnavas, Vaishnavas or Acharya category, because transcendent knowledge in our sampradaya is coming from there, even Lord Shiva. So for these great personalities, we should actually be very, very sensitive to understand that any ridicule or any aprad or any blasphemy is, for us to hear that and not able to respond to it, is as serious as committing a suicide. That is something there. But just to close with all those things, I would whatever is given in scriptures, in the age of Kali Yuga, it's especially recommended not to commit suicide, because after body, as you said, that one has to stay in a form of faith until the duration of life is covered. In the body, there might be a lot of sufferings, but there is still an opportunity to do devotional service, hearing chanting of Krishna's holy name, but it is not there to do any opportunity. There is no opportunity to do devotional service in the form of prayer. And it's worse for the Brahman initiates, because if Brahman initiates commit suicide, they don't get a Pret body. They would get a Brahm Rakshasa body, so which is even worse. That means Brahm Rakshas would be killing Brahma in themselves. So that's the worst part to do. Just to close with the note, so make people sensitive to what is happening over here. Especially in this age of Kali, one should be very conscious of society. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Absolutely. This is the thing, we should not, this pastime, we should not take them literally. We try and learn from them. We don't take them literally and try to copy them. Already, Prabhupada already saying that don't try to copy Shiva, don't try to copy Sati, we don't copy them, we learn from them. We cannot do what they can do. This is the first thing, that they're above us, and we cannot do what they can do. We learn from them that yes, these things are serious, and we should avoid them because they can kill off our bhakti lata. We try to do some bhakti, do so much bhakti, and then we can the plant of bhakti can just dry up. The Vaishnava Prabhupada is taken as the number one reason to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. That's some number one of the instruction. That's what we have to do. We have to follow the 10 commandments, so to speak, the 10 instructions that we are given. We follow them, and we actually look after this body and follow instructions as mentioned. So thank you so much, everyone. I think we have time for one round. Now it's 8:52. We'll do one round. Surishi Mataji, would you like to chant the round for us, please? And we'll follow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.